Hey, how's it going? I'm Dan Fradenburgh, and this is Chess with Investors. Today, I am joined with DM McKaskey. How you doing today, DM?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Dan?
Fantastic! It's exciting always to start off your week by playing chess with another investor. It's some pretty exciting stuff. I've sent the link inside the chat there, DM. You can sign up that way. I'm not sure how you are with multitasking, so I'll introduce the subject of what we're up to first, and then hopefully as you're logging in, you can introduce yourself after that. So with Chess with Investors, right now primarily it is commercial real estate investors, investors in general, and there are several different types of investors. They're the ones who actually are involved in creating the syndications. They're the operators. There's the deal sponsors, boots on the ground, all that kind of stuff. There's different types of investors out there, but there are a couple things that we're up to. One is to get to know each other a little bit, find out exactly what you do in this sector of real estate, and then the other thing is find out what you like when you get angry, when all your pieces are being kleptoed. So that's lots of fun. So DM, do you want to introduce yourself to the audience a little bit?
Yeah, I'm DM McKaskey. I come from a background in tech and aviation. So I went to school to become a airline pilot, and quickly anxiety got the best of me, and I figured it was the best professional option and decision to ground myself, as we say in the industry. I went from there, flew drones for a couple tech startups, and I worked with a lot of engineers and a lot of field personnel, and had a great time. We flew anywhere from drones that were, 1 to 2 pounds to 300 pounds with a 9-hour endurance. It was a lot of fun. Had a lot of really, really cool stories of just interesting things that, the drone wants to do one thing and you trying to tell it to do something else. And learned very quickly that running off a checklist is the way to go. As standard in aviation, and taking that knowledge and putting it in all other aspects is something that I love doing to create safety and standardized processes.
Excellent. I love it. So it sounds like chaos isn't just limited to when humans are involved directly. It's the robots can have a mind of their own as well. Oh, yeah. So I don't know if the link, the challenge link, was working there. I'm going to go ahead and create another one to see if that helps once you're all logged in and all that kind of stuff. Once you do get it to work, whoever's white will have like 30 seconds to do their first move. So there's your fair warning. But again, as far as this show goes, obviously when you're a real estate person, you'd much rather be doing something in real estate. But this is the internet, so you have to do something kind of quirky just to feed the algorithm. So that's why we end up playing chess here while we're doing this. So as far as real estate goes, me personally, I'm most closely involved with a debt fund based out of Arizona, which I'm enjoying personally. I have my GP experience previously in multifamily, but one of the problems if you're going to be taking on investors as you're a GP of a multifamily or a typical commercial deal, I find, is that you're basically morally obligated to make sure that your potential investors understand the basics of underwriting, understand the risks involved. And when you're involved in a debt fund, which is basically means you find accredited investors and you lend their capital out to fix and flippers or whatever sorts of projects you lend to, you really only have to understand that you only lend within a certain loan to value, and if you're in first position, which is where we tend to stand, then you make sure that you have the right to foreclosure and share of sale, that sort of thing. So basically you got a buffer already in there. Square with white. There we go. And you're white, so you get to go first. All right. So another show, just while I'm plugging it, yeah, go ahead and make your first move. But another show that we're starting up here, it's Poker with Investors. We've recorded our first episode, and it's kind of funny because I've got some friends who are saying, like, well, between poker and chess, you always pick these hard games. Why don't you pick something a little bit easier? and like Uno or Go Fish, and maybe one day there'll be paper, scissors, stones with investors.
Tic-tac-toe.
But yeah, tic tac toe. Yeah, that's good. But DM, as far as your background in chess goes, you mentioned your background in tech and engineering, and so I find that if you're going to be in those fields, you're going to be running into chess at some point. But what's your chess background?
I played a little bit as a kid, nothing too serious, and then my first iPhone, I played a little bit on that free app that I had on my iPhone, and then that's been about it.
Gotcha. It's funny. Me personally, I had a lot of anxiety about playing against humans. I figured that chess was a zero-sum game. Once you get far enough into it, you realize that it's fundamentally a draw until somebody gets too aggressive or something like that. So that makes me feel a little bit better.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it was about a year ago. Like as in like to the week or day or something like that, where I ripped the band-aid, started doing the games against strangers on this platform, and I probably should have internalized, like when they say that after the first three moves, there's like 121 million different positions that are possible. Mm-hmm. I probably should have internalized that to realize that you need to do thousands of games before you have any concept of how vast the possibilities are.
I'm sure there's so many other moves and books out there.
Yeah.
Almost to the point where you move one piece and then the rest of the game is decided after that, depending on how well you know.
Yeah, and it's crazy because now like you look to be around the same age as me, and it used to be that if you wanted to learn chess, then you basically have to read books, which has got to be the worst way to learn chess. Studying it from a book, working with other people
go down to the library, check out the book. Physically have to go down to check out the book.
Yeah, now exactly.
There's podcasts and YouTube videos and all this stuff. So that's what I really love about just the modern age, is that we have so much information material out that literally, if you wanted to learn the most niche topic, there's something there for you.
Yeah, there really aren't many things that you can't learn off of YouTube and whatnot these days. So, but it's funny because I'll hear people, hypothesize, philosophize about that sort of thing, and the one thing that I like to add almost immediately is CRM management is one of those things that you still can't really learn off of YouTube. Like, you can learn how to use the software, but you're not going to learn like best practices.
That's just straight up discipline. I love learning these niche things. Being in the tech world and not having finished my college, I deal with guys that went to a number of the Ivy League engineering schools, and I started learning enough about Excel spreadsheets that I realized that there's a ton of possibilities that you can do with them. So anytime I open up a good, now it's the underwriting sheets, and I start looking in at some of the things that other people have made, and I start getting giddy of, oh my gosh, this is a phenomenal sheet. Just the formulas that you can do with it, to the point where you can, if some cell changes, you can have it email you the change.
Yeah, that's pretty wild stuff for sure. What word do I want to do this in? So actually, since I had my moment of thinking out loud there, I guess it's a good idea for us to start talking about multitasking. So one 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 thing that's kind of funny, I actually had one client with my CRM agency. He was a health professional, and he claimed that men not only can't. This seems enigmatic to me, or paradoxical, maybe is the better word. He said that men can't multitask, but if they do, it's actually unhealthy for them. And it's like, well, it's like, which one is it? They can't or they shouldn't? Because it seems like,
I flying. Well, yep, that happened. Flying airplanes, you learn to like compartmentalize things, and so you're not multitasking. You're just like, all right, at this specific time, you're focusing on this. At this specific time, you're focusing on this, and you learn to plan ahead so far ahead that it's almost like you're multitasking. But the crazy part is when I would get down on the ground and I'm flying something super complicated and I start driving home, I feel like I'm, got the sixth sense, because I know where cars are 15, 20 feet around me, and I'm just zipping around, and you're flying so fast but you don't realize it, and your brain's going so fast that just things happen so much quicker.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a part of mindfulness. And let me see here. So for that, yeah, I think I'm okay on both of those. So I think I'm going to swing this around first. But yeah, so part of it is mindfulness, and because like one of the things I have this conversation pretty frequently, because one thing when I was in like Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts and all that kind of stuff.
Are you an Eagle Scout?
I was as a kid. I haven't been involved in any of that kind of stuff, in 30 plus years. But I heard about the founder, Robert Baden-Powell, was ambidextrous. And so whenever I'd hear about somebody with a neat superpower like that, I'd want to spend some time and go, okay, so what's that all about? How hard is it to do that sort of thing? Like, is it like, when you're, like to like, for example, writing with your left hand, if you're right-handed, that kind of thing. Okay, yeah, that's a good way to trap that in there. But yeah, so I try a few different things to try and just basically see. It's like, okay, well, this brain I was born with, what's really possible. And when it came to mindfulness, so what I've done, and this is over the course of like over 30 years. I guess it's coming on like 35 years. I deliberately try and do more than one thing at the same time. So, for example, when I'm making espresso, I'll be cleaning the basket with one hand while I'm preparing and scooping out the grounds with the other, like that sort of thing. Yeah. And so it's true that you're only able to focus. There's only one focus at a time, but you can move yourself a step back, I guess is one way of putting it, and include more as you're using that one focus. Okay, so now I can't do that anymore.
Yeah. Am I ruining your strategy?
Well, I still have, like I'm lacking development here. I don't have as many of my pieces out as I ought to. Mm-hmm. But you're doing a great job of defending that C3 pawn. It's really a no-go zone for my bishop right now.
Oh yeah, I got the two horses.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes the best defense is not knowing anything about what you're doing, and you become unable to be to provide a defense because you're unpredictable. But
yeah.
Kind of going into what like multitasking, a lot of it is you do something really well, or you try to do something really well, and you develop a system to do it, and eventually it becomes so ingrained in what you do that you don't have to think about it anymore, and then you're able to add on more and more things. And that another thing, just I learned that just happened. I learned from. Can I do that? No.
Yeah, you can take it with your king.
That easy.
Well, it's just trading. It's just trading queens, getting them off the board, basically solidifying a material advantage is what I'm up to.
Run. Yeah.
Yeah, the robots they really teach you that it's important to do that. Basically solidify your advantage by making even trades.
Yeah, I found in one of the things that I learned in flight school is that you can't do everything at once, and if you do everything at once, you become very poor at it. But if you can focus in on one thing and get really good at that, like your checklist or doing some motions, then from there you get really good at that to the point where muscle memory starts kicking in, and you're able to focus in on other things. I remember my first couple times, probably more than my first couple times underwriting, it took me close to 18, 19 hours to run through the numbers. And now it goes much, much quicker than that. Kind of learned of, all right, that's probably because I didn't know my numbers in my area. I didn't know XYZ. And so as that started becoming more knowledgeable in things, and you're able to, there we go. And just in time too, actually. So yeah, unfortunately we're kind of pressed for time today. Yeah. So I got a little bit lucky there with that combination there. But as far as reaching out, finding out more of what you do in the real estate space, I believe you're like I am. LinkedIn is the best way to find me. Yeah. I got this distinct last name, makes it really, really easy to find. And of course, if you want to do me a solid, you could go ahead. Yes, I'm talking to you in the audience. You can go ahead and hit that hideous subscribe button that's down there. It's free, and all it means is if enough people actually click on it, then those deadbeats at YouTube will actually start paying for these videos instead of me, and I think that would be fantastic. But DM is LinkedIn the best way to reach out? Is there a website, email, phone? How should people reach out? LinkedIn's the best way to reach out to me. The only other McKaskey, the way that's spelled, is either my brother. There's another Dennis McKaskey, but that's my dad. So you'll be able to find me. There's a nice, great picture of me from my wedding 5 years ago up there as my profile picture. So
excellent.
I had a little more hair at that point. So
yeah, I hear you. All right, well, thanks for joining. Maybe we can do the rematch on the next time. All right.
All right, sounds good. Have a great day.
All right, you too. Thanks.
All right, bye.
Does nothing but put more money in the pot.
Right.
If we talk about just the investor side, I mean, Shane talked about the sponsor side a little bit. I'll talk about the investor side. Okay, so you want the most money in terms of return with the least risk. All right, you want to do it yourself, you can go get 13 or 14%. You're going to do all the underwriting, it's not going to be passive.
If you bet, probably not.
I think I'd have to bet at least 2,500 before they fold.
And the pot is
4,000.
4,000. Yeah, I think you're right, but I'd rather just check.
Okay.
First position, you have the right of collection and the right of foreclosure or sheriff's sale, wherever you're at.